Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again, and it might be a little bit late, but here is the last build of Ritual League for myself. I felt like I had just enough time to squeeze out one more build, considering it was going to be Toxic Rain, because I wanted to play a Toxic Rain Occultist and make use of all of my dense fossils for the entire league and build something with Energy Shield once and for all. So I knew it would be pretty fucking fast, and that's why a couple of days is all we needed to get this character moving. So Toxic Rain is one of those extremely meta and feel good skills at the moment, and most people play it as Pathfinder or Trickster. Sorry, almost forgot the ascendancy there. And Occultist is something I wanted to play around with because I wanted extra chaos explosions in my Toxic Rain, and I want it to be CI, so we start on the top side of the tree. Seems pretty good. And long story short, it's insane. Toxic Rain, everyone knows it's pretty good at this point. Everyone's been playing it. For the most part, avoid extremely meta things or extremely good skills as much as I can anyway. Plenty are still played. Currently, Toxic Rain's just one of the best feeling and insane skills out there. And the patch notes that just then came out, which I've yet to actually look over, but I did check in on Toxic Rain just in case, does have a bit of a nerf for Toxic Rain, but it's not a very relevant one. The nerf makes it so the AoE of the pods spreads out more if you scale AoE, so that's just going to make overlap on single target a bit harder. My current build I don't think does very good overlap on single target anyway, so shouldn't be too affected, but the ones that scale a decent chunk of area then get really good overlap and have pretty good single target. But for the most part, that shouldn't change anything for the clear of the skill, and as you can see, I'm doing some pretty juiced up, like maximum juice, harbinger, sextants, double beyond, all that sort of shit, and you can just sit there and face tank and do everything as though it was normal mobs, because it goes through proximity bubbles, and our energy shield on kill is doing a lot of hard carry in this situation. So with some life or energy shield on kill, depending if you're building life or energy shield, you can just go around and be basically immortal. This character hit 94 almost, and did a whole round of endgame in like 15 hours or some shit, 13 hours, I can't remember exactly what it was, and that involved a bit of crafting for the character too. So it was extremely fast and feels insanely smooth to play, and the clear of the skill is really well and truly the drawing factor to it. So the single target, mine isn't particularly good, even with all of the stuff that I've put into it, because we didn't get that good overlap, but you can get pretty good single target on it as well. Either way, the playstyle for the single target is very comfortable, where you slow things down nicely, run around in circles, and just let the damage over time do its thing. This is an example of 100% Delirium T16 as well. Damage over time seems to be very nice for 100% Delirium maps, and this is probably the nicest or the easiest I've cleared one for the league. Simply because of the nature of the skill, the slowing, the damage over time, and the chaos explosions really do help a good bit too. And then for my single target, you can see it's nothing too insane. I think it's probably something like 5 to 10 million DPS, depending on how the overlap goes on certain bosses. But you place your withered totems, you run around, and you're pretty defensive and slowing the enemies quite nicely, though the slow is also going to be reduced with the patch notes, not by much, just from a 60% to a 30% maximum, but like I said, I'm not sure we get that much overlap on it anyway, because it is based on the amount of pods that are slowing the thing. But we've got temp chains on Blasphemy, we've got Wither Totem, so the slow's already probably at its maximum either way. But yeah, Toxic Rain should be a damn good starter still. Wouldn't be afraid of doing that if I were you for the next league. But this character here, it's CI, and I did pump a fair bit of crafting into it, and it's not going to be a very comfortable starter. So I wouldn't do an energy shield version. You're probably better off sticking to the usual conventional ones that people have been playing, and also probably have some guides of as well. But either way, I will of course go over this character and show you how it got built and what it took to build. For the most part, just a few lucky little crafts, hardly any harvest, it's almost all dense fossils, and then just doing the usual bow crafting technique and getting yourself some of the real good gems for the most part. It's basically just gems, awakened gems, gem levels, etc. So without further ado, let's go over the character's build. There's our current character, level 93. No, this isn't a starter build, Occultist. I was pretty confident it wouldn't be a starter build because it is energy shield based, and that does take a fair bit of ramping to get to with currency, gear, crafting, that sort of shit. And then obviously, to get the good single target and damage, you really need to fine tune your bow and gem levels and stuff, as I said. Still haven't fully figured out all my gem sockets and whether or not CI is worth it. Could have even hit 10k yes if we really wanted, but past like 8,000 I felt way more than comfortable to just start doing a bit more damage. But the main hero of the build, or of the Toxic Rain build, is going to be your bow. It scales off of gem levels and then additional arrows. And you can craft these types of bows pretty reliably and pretty comfortably, but it does take a few exalts and a bit of hard work to make it happen. With this specific one, I was just alterationing until I got 2 additional arrows, and it was by itself. I then imprint regaled until something good happened. I wanted either damage over time, attack speed, plus gem level, or plus 2 gem levels for bows. And after like 10 imprints, we hit attack speed, and then from there on, we just finish it off with a multi-mod. First of all, we do cannot roll attack mods. All of the suffixes are full. You exalt, and then it hits +1 gems. It has no choice. And then we finish it off with a multi-mod, and becomes pretty damn beastly. The gem itself is a 2120, just regular. The Phantasmal version gives you 2 additional arrows, and it's very expensive, whereas this one just has 10 area, and you can see it's a level 30. That's because with this type of a setup, Empower gives you +6, and then we've also got +2 from the amulet. But the main link setup here is Toxic Rain, Awakened Vicious Proj, Divergent Mirage Archer, that gives you a bit of extra duration, so it is worth doing. Awakened Void Manip, and damage on full life. We do get to use that since we are CI, and 1 out of 1 life is always full life, and the energy shield itself doesn't matter. And then the Empower level 4. So all that gets you a pretty juicy Toxic Rain. The rest of the gear I do believe I crafted myself, but it does sometimes look a little bit special. So the Toxic Rain, 1 additional arrow. The more arrows you get, the more overlaps you might potentially have for single target. Those explosions themselves do actually stack their chaos damage, and this is the suffering effect. You can kind of see the explosions. With the Celestial, you can very clearly see what the overlaps are going to look like and how well the explosions go. And I haven't got that much area, so the explosions aren't going to overlap too profusely. But yeah, that's that. So the more arrows you get, the more chance of getting some overlaps and stuff as well, and also better for clear. So we've got 1 additional arrow there, 2 additional arrows there, 1 additional arrow there, and Dying Sun as well. So in total, 11 arrows, and that does give us a pretty good chance at overlapping some stuff, but also good clear. Whereas the helm itself, I threw like 2 dense fossils at this and just got a bunch of energy shield. The boots are actually completely insane. I think it was like 2 dense fossils at this as well, and basically all you're really trying to get is 3 good prefixes. So we're going for, sorry, it wasn't dense fossils, dense and shuddering fossils at once. Threw about 5 of those at it, and you're trying to get movement speed, and then the 2 good ES rolls. They don't have to be huge, they can be a bit smaller, and then we just reroll suffixes until we get something. And this was the first reroll suffixes I used with Harvest, and it gave us all those resists. And those crafts, the prefix and suffix ones, are probably some of the most powerful from Harvest. They're still going to be alive, so don't you worry about that. This was actually the hardest craft I did. Trying to get the Chaos Stop multi and some energy shield, that's kind of tough. So with 2 socket resonators, I put dense and aberrant fossils together, maybe about 100 of them, and ended up getting something like this, which isn't too bad, but still far from perfect. Chest, just straight up throw a lot of dense fossils at it, single dense fossils. Didn't take too many for this one, I don't know, like 40 or something. Just getting some energy shield rolls, and then the energy shield on kill. Dense fossil does really promote that one, but you can also augment defense onto it and get a bit lucky if it's one of the two roles, because it does also have energy shield regen. But that's what we're dealing with. Anything over 600 ES, pretty easy, and roughly what you're looking for, I'd say. With this one, we put together a Chaos Dot multi and an additional arrow quiver through Awakener Orb, and just took whatever came out. In this case, this. This was a few dense fossils, so not even that many, 20 or some shit. And we're just going for energy shield from body armor. Energy shield recovery rate doesn't do too much for us, we don't have much recovery, and then a bit of energy shield from the actual prefix as well. This we just bought, has a bunch of resists, try to have an open suffix for minimum frenzy. This just, yeah, managed to make with a little bit of harvest caster crafting. Nothing too special about it actually, and then just min frenzy. And the amulet itself, really tough to get one like this. I didn't even bother trying when I saw this one up for sale. So that was 14 exalts, and it is pretty much perfect for the build. +1/+1 cast up multi with enough room for energy shield. But really all you're looking for is plus gems, maybe +1 and a chaos. You know, either one of those, any two of those three mods combined is still pretty good and shouldn't be too hard to make or too expensive. But this type of shit, yeah, it's going to be costly, and ultimately just a little bit more damage for the build. And then just flasks, dying sun, everything else, whatever, doesn't really matter. This is how we sustain our mana for the record though, because otherwise it does definitely go downhill quite a bit. And then we used two different large clusters, and that is because I wanted to get unspeakable gifts, even more chance to explode for really reliable explosions. By this point though, we've got 50%, so I only got one of these instead of two. And then for my medium clusters, we tried to get Wicked Pole, which is skill effect duration, and then whatever else. So a bit of dot multi there, just a bit of chaos damage, and chaos skills ignore interruption from stuns, which I think should work while we're attacking with Toxic Rain. And then likewise there, and bit of dot multi there, and bit of dot multi. And then all of my smalls are energy shield, energy from naught, just 100 extra ES across the board. Did grab a attack speed with precision. Attack speed does feel a little bit lackluster on the Occultist, so getting attack speed from Jules is how I tried to overcome that. Attack speed there, attack speed there, a little bit of damage, and then spec'd into all kinds of shit across the tree. And that's pretty much all I need to say, I think. First 2 points went down here for the explosion, then here, and then we got our second curse happening. You can do a third curse, but there's no convenient way of doing it. So in the end, I was just using a temp chains with, temp chains with a blasphemy, and then malevolence, and using my on hit with despair over here. So just two curses, can get a third one in, but it's not super convenient. We then got haste, dash, second wind, flame dash, an entire wither totem setup, and precision just at level 1 to enable that attack speed. Blight, which is just for Vile Blight. Stone Golem's not even doing anything anymore. I never really use him. He's just there because whatever. And we can attach whatever we want in our 6-link, but nothing too special happening there. I think some people might use a Toxic Rain totem support instead of the entire wither thing, but I think this was fine the way it was. So that's about all I got to say about this character. It was insane. Toxic Rain feels incredibly buttery smooth on the high end, and something I could still recommend even with the patch, even as a starter build. Not necessarily this one, but this is my example of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to leave you with the Uber fight. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Siri up there. The Chills one we actually don't care that much about this time around. Chill is the main one. That one's going to lag, so that's all we need to know. Siri's up there. This one lags. That's all we need to know. Let's go. I got no idea what we're doing. I do still kind of want to do Chill because his stuff doesn't hurt that much, but it's consistent attacks, which is annoying because it prevents me regening. Holy shit. Well, there goes the Deathless. Sheila just didn't stop his fucking spin. Like, he kept spinning. And then I couldn't get away from Elder and had to then go back into the circle, so it's unfortunate. The playstyle's really good for it though. Yeah, this shouldn't be hard at all. So to be fair, I told you not to believe. I feckin' told you. Yeah, there's some garbage right there. It's a nice leveling weapon, except it's level 67.